Amazing how that all relates to my message tonight. um, amazing how God works. The title of the message tonight, if you did not see on Facebook, is Shiny Stuff. And you may be thinking, dude, what are you calling a message shiny stuff for? Well, you're about to see in 2 Corinthians, if you have a Bible, go ahead and turn there, and it's going to be in the 3rd chapter, verses 5 through 18. And I'm actually going to read out of the New Living Translation. But, one of the things that I see is people try to say that healing is not for today. And all these things, all of this is part of the new covenant. And that's the tip of the iceberg. There's the Bible talks about miracles and all these things. And I think sometimes we get to this place where the natural is more natural than the supernatural, and it should be the other way around. So let's go ahead into the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 3, starting in verse 5. Again, I'll be in the New Living Translation. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think of anything as being from ourselves, but our sufficiency is from God. Verse 6, who has also made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. But if the ministry of death, written and engraved on stones, was glorious, so much that the children of Israel could not look steadily at the face of Moses, because the glory of his countenance, which was the glory passing away, how will the ministry of the Spirit not be more glorious? Let's just stop there for a moment. How will the new covenant not be more glorious than that which was passing away? And I just realized I'm still in the New King James. But this old covenant, what happened was you have Moses, and he's got the glory of God on his face, and he covers his face so that nobody would see that which was passing away. But the new covenant is much more glorious than the old covenant. And it should shine that much more. Verse 9, and I'm now in the New Living. If the old way which brings condemnation was glorious, how much more glorious is the new way which let's go back. In fact, that glory was not glorious at all compared with the overwhelming glory of the new way. So if the old way, which has been replaced, was glorious, how much more glorious is the new, which remains forever? So let's pause there. The old covenant has been done away. Can you bring that big mic for me, please? I want to turn this off. It's driving me crazy. That old covenant, we were talking about the Charis students will recognize this. That old covenant, it was a revelation, but it was not the full revelation of God. The full revelation is Jesus. And the old covenant has been done away as into us, because we're part of a new covenant. This new covenant should shine greater than that old covenant did on Moses. Verse 12, since the new way gives us such confidence, we can be very bold. We are not like Moses, who put a veil over his face so the people of Israel would not see the glory, even though it was destined to fade away. 14, but the people's mind were hardened, and this day, whenever the old covenant is being read, the same veil remains covered their mind, so they cannot understand the truth. And this veil can be removed only by believing in Christ. 15, yes, even today when they read Moses' writings, their hearts are covered with that veil, and they do not understand. 16, but whenever someone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. For the Lord is Spirit, and whenever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. In verse 18, this is what I want us to really focus in on. So all of us who have had that veil removed can see and reflect the glory of the Lord. And the Lord, who is Spirit, makes us more and more like him as we are changed into his glorious image. One of the things that you'll find out if you're here at Grace City for long is that the whole Christian walk is about the renewing of your mind. Everything, I guarantee you, comes down at the end of the day to renewing your mind. When you see who you are in Christ and you see what's in the new covenant, then you are able to walk in a new way. It is by that identity that you are able to shine with the new covenant. I'll read 18 again. So all of us who have had that veil removed can see, one, you can see the glory of Christ, and two, you can reflect it. And that's where the title Shiny Stuff come in. We should be shiny stuff. We should be shiny stuff in the world. I don't know if you've ever noticed shiny stuff, but it's kind of hard to ignore. If I was to get up here, and I wish I had brought something up here that's shiny, but if I had something shiny up here and I did this, I guarantee you half of you would be staring at the shiny thing while I'm trying to talk. Is that right? I mean, that's just kind of, you'd be like, what's that? Shiny. That's how we are. The glory of the Lord attracts people. That's how he is. I don't have to tell you for long, there's a lot of broken and hurting people. But we serve a God who has healing. He's all about restoration. Everything that God has done since the beginning, since the fall of man, has been about restoration. And that's the whole message of reconciliation in Jesus, was to restore us to a place of intimacy with God. That's good news. And then from that place, we have a veil unlifted. And we can look through the lens of Jesus, if you will, about Scripture. And you can turn it into the Old Covenant. And you can see all this stuff in the law all points to Jesus. Now, if you read the Bible, you will know that these people, they couldn't see Jesus right in front of them, the religious people of the day. Yet, the whole Old Covenant talks about Jesus. This is that veil that's over people's eyes. Now, so we've established that we're supposed to be shiny stuff, right? Here, I'll do New King. Let's turn to Galatians 5. Starting in verse 16, I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary to one another. So you got two things you want to do. You got your fleshly desires that's wanting to do this. Over here you got your spiritual desire which wants to do this. And I believe this desire is in each person that has been born again. There's a battle against the proverbial good and evil. And when you follow your flesh, you're going to get the result of the flesh. When you follow your spirit, you're going to get what? The result of the Spirit. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, the works of the flesh, actually, let's back up to verse 18. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under law. Is that plain enough for us? I mean, can we establish that today? If you are led by the Spirit, you are not under law. Why? The law of the Spirit is much stronger than the law of the letter. The law of the letter was very weak, and it did not have the power or the glory, as we read about earlier, that the new covenant has. So for us to try and follow this old covenant, we're trying to follow something that is inadequate to what's been given to us to walk in. We just read, if you walk in the Spirit, you shall not what? Fulfill the lust of the flesh. You shall not. That's a promise. If you walk in the Spirit, you're not under law, because you're not having to go by this and this. You're following the heart that's after God. Now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissensions, heresy, envy, murder, drunkenness, rivalries, and the like, of which I tell you beforehand, just as I also told you in the past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. Verse 22, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. And those who are Christ's have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another to envying each other. So you've got two things here. I call them the fruit of the Spirit and what? The fruit of the flesh. And you've got to really, really, really be missing something to miss this. When you walk in this way, you get this. And when you walk in this way, you get this. And I say this, which of these are you going to reflect? We are supposed to shine the glory of the Lord in the new covenant. Now, I'm not trying to say we need to walk by law. What I'm saying is the new covenant, grace. I come up to Pastor Sean and say, Pastor Sean's done something wrong to me. And I come up to Pastor Sean and I say, hey, it's been forgiven. Pastor Sean's reaction should be that he doesn't want to do that again. It shouldn't be that, oh, yes, I got away with it. I can go do it again. Because if Pastor Sean cares about me, he says, hey, that hurt his feelings. I don't want to do that again. But there's a greater thing to be achieved here than just walking out the life of a Christian. And we've got to establish this, as we just talked about earlier, about missions. It's about changing lives. People should see shiny stuff, and their attention should be grabbed by it. They should see people who love people where they are. They should see people who have gentleness, who have kindness, who have long suffering. They should see the new covenant on us. They should see a difference in our lives. And I've had the unfortunate realization, we'll say that certain people who are big parts of churches don't walk in the fruit of the Spirit. I had one person that was someone that I knew of, and I realized that they were part of a certain church, and I was surprised. And I'm like, that's I would have never guessed. Why? Because the glory of the Lord was not being shown. Now, let me see where this verse is. If we walk in the Spirit, or if we live in the Spirit, we ought to walk in it. The scripture says, Jesus said that he is in me and I am in him. That same thing applies to us. We are in Christ and the Spirit of God is in us. It should be something that is all the way through us, something that is in every part of our being. It should be something that we learn to walk in daily. But what does that mean? What is the glory of the Lord? One of the ones we talked about earlier, healing. We should be bold enough that we can go up to someone and say, be healed, and have the faith to believe it's going to happen. But one of the things that happens is that we believe that for some reason we're not good enough, that God's not going to work through us. I'm just little me. I've got to have super duper over here do it because he's holier than I am. We talked about last service, Sunday, about how we want to all please God, and then we don't believe we're pleasing him, but it's faith that pleases God. So if faith pleases God and we're walking in unbelief, are we pleasing God? Now, I'm not saying that we're in unbelief like that we're just totally not pleasing to God. What I'm saying is, what puts a smile on God's face? Trusting and having faith in him. If you have children, does it put a smile on your face if your child doesn't have any faith in you? Hey, Dad, are you going to bring home a paycheck this week so we can eat for a change? Really? If he said he would do what he said he would do, we need to have faith in that. But all of these things profit nothing. Healing, word of knowledge, word of wisdom, if we don't have a heart after God. In Ezekiel, it says that he will give us a tender and responsive heart, and he will give us a new spirit so that we will follow his ways. I believe that resembles the new covenant. It's not about me saying, hey, Kyle, this makes me angry. This hurts my feelings. And this I just think is stupid. Don't do these things. It's about developing a relationship. It's about Kyle having a heart of, hey, I'm going to learn things like that about somebody so that I can be a friend to them. Is that what we do? I mean, do I say, hey, Tara, can you give me your list of things that really bug you so that I don't do them? No. I learned, hey, I just said that, and Tara don't like people to say things to her in the middle of a church service because she feels like people are looking at her, and so I'm not going to do that again because she gave me a weird look. I've learned something about Tara. So now I can say, okay, I don't want to offend her again, so I'm not going to do that again. But now if I come up to someone like this, I grew up, I call people yes ma'am, yes sir. But I've offended people doing that. I had this one dude, he said, if you call me sir one more time, I'm going to get so mad at you. He says, I was called sir enough in the military. You can quit calling me sir. And so I learned that about him. I said, I don't want to do that. I want to be his friend. It's all about a heart condition. And so I'm going to be responsive to the Lord right now. Sometimes our hearts become hardened. The Bible talks about his disciples, how their heart was hardened. They did not understand the things that he talked about, Jesus talked about, because their hearts were hardened. I want to put a challenge to each of you, and it's this. Is my heart after God? Is my heart after the things of the Spirit? And there's one of these scriptures that talks about, and I'm not going to go through it because it's pretty long, but it talks about, in the King James, it talks about a heart after the things of the Spirit. I like that version because in the South, somebody can go after them some food. If you're hungry, you might go after you some McDonald's. Anybody ever heard somebody use that kind of terminology? Meaning you're pursuing that thing because you've got to have it. I had a bus driver when I forget what age I was, but this kid, he comes up and tattles on me. He's like, yeah, Tyler's messing with this girl. And it wasn't even, like, true what he was saying, but the bus driver calls me up to the front, and she's like, I hear you after that girl. What are you talking about? She's like, that girl, that new girl, you after her. I'm like, yes, I'm sitting in the seat after her, the seat behind her. What are you talking about? She's like, you know what I mean? I'm going to call your mama. Oh, great, mom's in this now. I'm not going to hear the end of this. And I don't know if she ever called my mom. I think maybe she figured out, hey, I don't know what's going on, but he doesn't know what I'm talking about. But if you're going after something, you're passionately pursuing it. A lot of people are going after, the riches and the fame of this world. They're doing everything that they can to get noticed. I come from a music background, and I have friends that everything they do is trying to get recognition of this record label, this person, someone to get them to the next level. And they do everything that they can. They will smile and be sweet and nice to people that they don't even like. They're like all happy and stuff, and they turn around and it's like, I hate this dude. We go after so many things in the world, but I think sometimes we don't go after God. I think sometimes we say, okay, I got you. I'm going to heaven, but I don't want anything more. I don't want to make a difference in my world. I don't want to be a light. Because if I'm a light, shiny stuff catches attention. Does it not? If you live different, you're going to catch attention. Now, I've had people before, and thankfully I haven't had too much of this, but I've had people before that's been kind of mean. And it's nowhere near what some people face about persecution, but, somebody being mean to you isn't always the most pleasant thing. And it's easy to start holding a grudge against them. Oh, they're going to be mean to me. I'm just going to talk. But you got to realize something. There's a spiritual condition. This is serious stuff. We have got to be world changers. I hear people, nobody in this church, but a lot of our traditional churches who complain about the government. They complain about this thing. They complain about that thing. It's always about the president and this law and stuff. And it really irritates me, because I find that if the church was doing what the church should be doing, then we wouldn't have to rely on laws. We wouldn't be complaining about laws. We'd be out there making a difference in what's happening. Look, if you don't like these laws that they're trying to make about hate crimes and stuff, how about let's go out there and put an effort against people who are doing the hate crimes? Let's go out and love people. If you have a problem with all the homeless people that's all on the streets of Lake City now, that it's like you're noticing there's like a lot more here lately, maybe there's something you can do about it that can help people. But it's something that's weighed my heart down is this. I think sometimes we're so satisfied because we've got lights and a roof over our head. Why do miracles happen in third world countries, but here in America, where everybody's a Christian? Why here do we not see anything happening? Why here do we come into church and nobody seems, it's like, they're doing the pastor a favor by coming to church and giving money. We don't need that. Why is that? God wants an intimate relationship with you. He wants something that's living. He doesn't want something where you come into church and you put on the face and you have your little Jesus shirt on. Sorry if you're wearing a Jesus shirt. I don't see any. Just wanted to say that just in case. I'm not picking on anyone. But we come in and we put on the act, but our heart is not striving to go somewhere new. We've hit a peak. We've received Him, but now there's nothing else. And so I just want to put something out there. Is there somewhere you want to go in your life? Do you want the boldness to be shiny stuff? Do you want to be a world changer? I say this a lot when I'm speaking to teenagers. That you are in a place where you can change a lot of lives. How many people at school do you see every day? Even worse, somebody posted a video on Facebook. I think it might have been you and Riley Stevenson, where this dude who looks like Jesus, I guess he's supposed to be Jesus, he's up there and he's treating people like crap. He's like, this dude's coming up and he's like, no, you're not coming to the party. We treat people just so horribly sometimes. But I want to put an invitation to you. You've got to first have a heart after God in order to see change. Because it's about passion. It's about an intimate walk with God. Ministry flows out of intimacy. If you do not have, and I've seen this, if you do not have intimacy, your ministry is not going to go anywhere. I've seen people try and do it in the flesh. What happens is they get eat up by the flesh. They run their ministry for a year, and then you don't see them anymore. They just like fall off the face of the planet, and you're like, man, where did they go? It just falls apart. And so if we could lower the lights back there and get some music on, because I want to invite you to intimacy. I think sometimes we get in church and we're all about, we've got to be in and out by a certain time. We've got to hear a good word. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in moving on and being fast that we don't give God time. And that's what I've been really enjoying about Wednesday night. We've been seeing miracles. Why? Because we've been giving him time. We've been seeing God do stuff because we're not here with an agenda. I was going to talk about identity again tonight and about sin's identity over your life. But God dealt with me on the fact that, we're supposed to shine. And we're not shining because we're stagnant. We're not wanting to go to a new level. We're not striving for any more because that calls for change. We don't like hearing about change. But grace and change are not separable. Grace will change you. So let's go ahead and stand. I want to put an opportunity out for you. If you want to change in your life, if you're tired of living each day the same, I invite you to come forward. If you want to see something different, I'm talking about like people's ribs coming back in. I'm talking about passion in your life. I want to invite you, come forward. Don't hold back. This walk is not about being like everyone else. Thank you, Jesus.